Here we are again. Second match of the day. Welcome everybody to week 4 of the World Doom League. I am Xenaero, and I am joined today by my co-host KBlair. How you doing, Blair?
I'm doing great. This match coming up is sure to please.
Sure to please. Now earlier, if anyone was tuning in a couple hours ago or had watched the VOD that's now on YouTube, we watched one of the shortest games in Doom history, the second shortest World Doom League match in the league's history, uh, between Oblast Plum and Boomstick Warriors, which lasted barely over 7 minutes combined, resulting in a smashing victory for BQB. Infer should be definitely pleased about that as we approach our playoff standings. There are 2 weeks left to go in the league, week 4 and week 5. And let's see if this key works. It does, and we're looking at the week 3 results, showing the playoff picture right now, going over it real quick, with best ever at a resounding first place, looking to secure that top seed. We're not sure when their game is going to get played as of yet, but all the teams are still in it for the playoff picture. Even though GPS, my team, has 0 points, 0 wins on the board, it's still possible for us to get in the playoffs as it stands right now in week 4. So the league is still extremely competitive with 2 games left for most teams to play to determine that playoff picture. But we're talking about the current game. Demon Slayers and Steel Ball Runners on this new map that we have not seen regulation play other than the game we just watched. Blair, why don't you run us through the teams real quick?
Sure thing, Nick. Or sorry, Xenaero.
Either works.
Dooms. Let's start off with the Demon Slayers. They're captained, led by Dear Leader Alpha. Last week, they're coming from a 2-week victory last week over the Giant Pea Shooters. Sorry. They were secured a much-needed win. This week they'll look to gain even more points here against a team that's also tied with them in the standings, the Steel Ball Runner. So important matchup here. Alpha scored 4 captures off 43 touches, so pretty efficient in week 3. He was able to bring his team to victory. He also secured the most blue armors in the server. So there is a sphere on this map, so will he be able to do the same on this map? And will it contribute to a Demon Slayer victory? Moving on to Dranzer, he had 4 captures last week. In a mid sort of role, he provided excellent run support, and he got the job done. He also had the most damage in the server, even with 4 captures. So he'll definitely need to reproduce a game like that to succeed this week. And of course, the Fragger extraordinaire, Hate Daddy, had 2 pickup captures last week. He seemed to split mid and defense with Dranzer, but he looked like he was primary defense. If the combination of the two again can shut the door, they're going to be hard to beat. The Steel Ball Runners are gonna have some trouble against this team. So let's talk about the Steel Ball Runners for a little bit here. So the Steel Ball Runners are also coming from a win last week against Oblast Plum. In a little under 15 minutes, the Steel Ball Runners were able to secure 10 captures against Oblast Plum's 2, in a pretty dominant showing. So the leader of the Steel Ball Runners, that's Zakin, he put 2 pickup captures up off 4 pickup touches, while only letting 2 flags out. So it was a great defensive performance there. He's going to need to continue that against Alpha and Dranzer in order to have a chance to win. Denzoa, the Denzoa factor. I mean, the trade for Denzoa, it's been coming up spades. He had 5 captures last week off 33 touches, and also top damage in the server, and also had 4 flag defenses shy of having the top flag defenses in the server. So if he could just continue to just completely dominate like that, then they're gonna be hard to beat. And finally, it brings us to caution. He had 1 capture, 2 pickup captures, and 19 flag defenses last week. He played sort of a conditional position role with his team, kind of playing offense, kind of playing mid, kind of playing defense, depending on how he read the field. If he can do that same thing this week, they're just gonna be impossible to beat the Steel Ball Runners. And that's our team recap.
Now, it's important to note that we haven't seen a debut game from Fran. And I'm not sure how many games Perondon has actually played in the league so far, but that is a new addition to the Demon Slayers roster after trading Halloween to GPS. But I mean, we saw Disparal debut for BQB a few hours ago, and it's not out of the question that we'll see the reserve members of these two teams enter the arena in a complicated map like this. The map is a lot like Week 2's map, where there is a sphere to control in the middle, a pretty wide open mid requiring a lot of support from the rest of the team for the runner to get away, or a lot of clever tricks from the runner, as we saw from Disparal. And the bases are difficult to control if you're only playing the base with multiple routes in and out. So it will require a lot of presence from mid from both teams. And we'll do a little flyby of the map, kind of running people through it who haven't seen it before. It's a brand new map for most of the league. Only a couple teams have actually had their game on it. A lot of teams have been practicing it due to how important Week 4 is in the playoff picture. But as of right now, we made league history last broadcast with Blair having the first correct prediction for a outcome of a game, which brings us to the next segment. Blair, I am asking you here today, what is your prediction for the outcome of this game?
Let's see. I'm gonna go with Steel Ball Runners in 3.
Is that your final answer?
I'm gonna lock it in. That's my final answer.
Stay tuned for if Blair is correct. Now, my prediction, I will actually mirror Blair's prediction, not only because I like to win predictions, but also because I think SBR might be on a hot streak after having blown out BQB last week and watching BQB rock this week. They're going in with a pretty confident showing, but yeah, we may see SBR in a shutout victory. Now, it's not to say DMS is slacking. They're not. This map will definitely throw a curveball at both teams as they attempt to kind of feel each other out as we get into this. We have some feedback. I feel like this may be a double tie, like the first game of the season. Oh, we might actually see that. That would be kind of interesting. We haven't. To my knowledge, I don't think we've seen a full tie, have we?
This season, no. They've all been definitive, victories and defeats.
We'll get right into the game here, and we'll do a little flyby of the base. From the flag room, the flag room's kind of pretty open. I mean, you got this pillar for hard cover, the lift that a lot of runners tend to take onto an upper area. You can jump across the Soul Sphere podium. Soul Sphere spawns every 30 seconds, no matter what the health is of the carrier, making it fairly easy to time. And you can take the upper route into the armor side of the other base. Grab green armor, and then you're back in the main base. Now, you can also... Carriers, we saw a couple carriers kind of playing up here when they were in danger. They can drop the flag below this fake bridge because that's just how the Doom engine works. And this route obviously takes you straight out into mid, where you would typically have a lot of people covering you. Now, this base is... The bases are lacking in terms of line of sight, requiring a lot of comms from both teams, either in forms of text binds or a lot of microphone communication. You do have a teleporter here that leads you... We've seen runners grab the teleporter and play a little trick on the defenders, waiting for them to push through and frag them and then try to get out of the base that way. There is a difference between the lifts at mid. This is an instant lift. When you lower it and you step over the edge of the lift, it raises to the top platform instantly, while the lift in the base is a traditional delay lift. It has travel time. It does not operate under the speed of light, and runners do have to time it. But that being said, we do see DMS in here practicing as the clock strikes 9 Eastern. It's almost game time. And we got some feedback from the Commissioner Rakowis, also known as Ralphus in the rest of the community. This map is too wild, and it is the first season it's ever been played in regulation. I'd be surprised if we see a double tie. So, it is a wild map where, so far, the only result we can quote is a blowout match.
I am waiting with bated breath.
Well, so is DMS as we wait for the rest of SBR to file in the server. It looks like we may not see Perondon start for DMS. We do see Zack and Dangzoa on the blue side. And Caution is in the server. I don't think we'll see any more surprise debuts. Last map was brutal. And we might see a more competitive game this time, but who can say? I mean, I was expecting the Boomstick Warriors to put up a more competitive game earlier, but you really can't tell before the game starts how the flow is going to happen. And right now, we usually go through the betting box line, but right now the bot is having a little bit of difficulty. Bookies are frantically running around. Everything's on fire. Who made off with all the WDL fun bucks? Who was it? But
Who done it for the ages?
The current odds for the match between SBR and DMS shows a slight advantage for SBR. And we got some support for a player in the chat. Let's chase some balls of steel. Go Jake. So we got a little bit of support for Caution, I believe.
Indeed. They're running the steel balls though. They're not chasing them.
Unless there's a Jake on DMS. I don't know everybody's real names, you know. Everyone's kind of operates under their call signs, as it were. But we're waiting for demos, maybe? Oh no, there's a slight bathroom break. Reading off some more chat. Not surprised by those odds, says Yellowtail. That's just Prime says, I believe in you, Jake. Show Jamie who's boss. We got some support for SBR. And as always, thank you to everybody for spending some of your precious weekend time watching our 25-year-old game and our little streaming adventure that we've been trying this season. It's been quite fun. Thanks to everybody for the support. And also, shout out to everybody who's subbed for this. We're gonna run speaking of that, a subscription to Twitch avoids all ads, mobile and otherwise. But for now, we kind of tactically run ad breaks. We'll throw a 30-second break up there right now, and hopefully by then teams will be ready to play. We try to keep it to a degree where we won't have gameplay interrupted by the ads, but for people who are still benefiting from a very big anonymous donation of 30 subs a couple weeks ago, you still have that great keycard, and you won't be seeing any ads. I believe they are almost ready to go. And looks like Zakin has returned. Team captain Zakin for the Steel Ball Runners he says, "Let's go!" And there is a call vote restart out on the field right now. We're going to be getting into round 1 between DMS and SBR. Starting off, watching Dingzoa moving out to mid. Sphere has been taken by DMS. And mid control along with it. Alpha, 10 health with the first touch. Can't get very far with it. But that was only the first touch. Drangzer with one of his own stopped in the base. A couple players playing up top on the upper raised walkways. Drangzer looking for a way out. Got some cover from Alpha. Alpha doing excellent spawn coverage, but there's a runner in the base. Can't get that return. Alpha's coverage didn't last long enough. Dengzo is across mid with armor, and that armor reduction of 1/3 saved him from dropping, leading to a 1-0 score for SBR. First blood has been drawn. Good example of armor control helping out a runner as Alpha tries to make it across without the armor. Pickup failed and the flag has been returned. But only 1 minute has passed. There's a lot of time for a lot of things to happen. Drangs are across mid with 30 health, but it wasn't enough. The flag is dropped in the middle of the red base. We don't know if that's going to hurt them or help them. It's tougher to control when it's outside that little cubby. Watching Drangzer here. Aim a little shaky. Wasn't enough to breach the defense there. A lot of DMS members going up on the raised walkway. One gets dropped by a respawn. Alpha with a touch, 25 health. Can't make it out to mid. And we'll be switching over to Caution. Running some interference. Seems to be getting some frag control on his own base. Moving back out to mid. Watching that Solar Sphere podium. Hatred with a Soul Sphere health that has already dropped off his Immortal Coil. 14 health in his own base. Looking for a health pack armor. He says hello to all of his teammates that are right next to him as they try to figure out where the carrier went. Speaking of, Dengzoa dropped. Hatred looking to get back to his own flag. Says, nope, too hot for me. 2 in the base. They were enough to return it. Zakin with 97 health out to mid. He's got the coverage. There's a pickup. It got dropped. Zakin picking it back up and scoring a second time for SBR. 2-0. 7.5 minutes left. Anything can happen. Alpha looking his way out. Nope. Blair, what do you see so far? Let's get your input here.
I mean, it just looks like SBR is just covering the runners better.
SBR doing a lot of coverage with their runners, a lot of pickups. Things that daisy chaining those pickups was pivotal for their second flag. Dengzoa trying to just breach the entranceway. Doesn't care how many people are in defending. Drangzer looking to get out, but that chain gun hurt him severely. Dropped at their side mid. Easy return for SBR.
Feels like DMS is just losing the mid fight every time.
And Drangzer with a touch of his own. Gets a good shot through the fake bridge. Dengzoa out across mid. Doing a little serpentine action there. Little soft, gentle movements. But it wasn't enough to save him from that shot. But we have a pickup. Caution in his own base. At the armor side corner. So, oh, there's eye contact has been made. Now there has to be a Pokemon battle. Caution trying to get back to his flag. And it just wasn't... There's too many members of DMS in there. But I believe that flag is still dropped up top. Nope, but it was dropped for too long. DMS was able to return it. And we'll get a little overview of mid. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of control here from either team at the moment. I see a carrier. Denzoa out top, 5 health. Says, please return it. Please, I beg you. And it was returned just in time for a 3rd capture. Denzoa just couldn't get shot at that point.
Yeah, it was a foot race. They're in between reload cycles.
Denzoa with a pickup, but it was being watched. DMS really needs to get more flags out to mid and get that coverage. SBR seems to be playing pretty tight with each other. Drangs are not able to convert. A lot of great runs from Drangzer here. Who? I believe Drangzer was the one who went for $1, correct? During the draft?
Might have to ask chat for that one, because I don't have that one available.
That would be some good information to have on hand. A little bit of value per player action as Drangzer, who confirmed he did go for $1. What a steal for a captain. Having a solid offensive player, which tends to be more in demand as players get better at aim overall. Hatred, with a run of his own, says, you know what? We need pressure. Pressure does tend to win games. It forces the enemy team back, especially in areas that require the whole team to control, like mid on this map. Alpha with a pickup from Drangzer. Just wasn't enough to get it across mid. Swarmed by players. Denzoa with a run of his own. Traded early on in the season from Giant Pea Shooters, and now he's finding success on SBR. Hatred with a run of his own, trying to get out. He's got armor, but he feels like he's too close to the defender chasing him to get out without fighting back. And we're just watching mid for a little bit until Alpha picks up the flag. Doesn't seem to be getting far there. But we have a player who grabbed the Soul Sphere, but he was shot down by Drangzer. Or Denzoa. Drangzer with a touch. From 100 health to 0 in 2 shots. Hatred with a full stack of health and a couple units of armor. Aiming slightly above center. As he catapults through his own base, says, please return the flag. I see it. It needs to be returned. It has to be returned, but it was returned for SBR instead, with Denzoa getting a 5 health capture. 4-0.
That was a crazy cap by Denzoa.
It's very well put.
He saw 3 of them at once at one point, and then just killed 2 of them and scored.
It's as simple as that. You gotta kill the whole team, return your own flag, and score it. It's mathematically sound. Flag dropped to the lower area. Alpha saying, hey, I want that, but it wasn't. He just wasn't quick enough. But 2 minutes left. DMS really has to pull it together if they're going to get at least something on the board. A show of strength. Drangzer trying to get across mid, but it wasn't happening. Denzoa using a little bit of hard cover to secure his run. But DMS was chased him down in the base. Hatred with a fresh run, grabs armor. Misses the spawn frag, misses the follow-up. Says, I'm going to try for a 3rd shot. Gets away free across mid, except not really. Zakin says that flag is now mine. Denzoa with armor of his own going out through mid. Zakin actually picked up the... Yeah, Zakin... And that's it. 5-0 for round 1. We're going into round 2. DMS needing to do something, anything, to stay in it. Push it to round 3.
They need to dominate their upper right now.
Denzoa with the
SBR is
first.
dominating it.
SBR is really flexing hard as Denzoa grabs the sphere, the first sphere spawn, guaranteeing them item timing. And a touch to force him back. Caution with a touch of his own, wasn't able to get it out to mid where his team could support him. Showing the importance of controlling mid at the enemy's base. Alpha says, I gotta fight this, I don't have enough health. Sphere grabbed by SBR. Alpha with a touch. Low health. Much too low. Caution. Quickly returned. And we're looking for a touch from Alpha. Both teams slugging it out in mid, but Alpha has got a 5 armor run, 50 health. Just failed on that one shot. And that cost them a pretty easy run there.
Good return by caution.
Denzoa with 17, trying to get out through. He's across with very little health. He's being chased. His team not there to support him, or even Daisy Chain to pick up. But the pressure is still on DMS to make the first move here. Denzoa out to mid. It got dropped, taken up by caution, but too low health, too close to an enemy defender. Showing that the boomstick can still do some work from a significant range.
Absolutely.
Alpha, 5 health. It's dropped down to 0. Drangster with a pickup. And Drangster with a self-coverage, but not the self-return. There's a pickup in the base, and it's been returned from Denzoa. What a great return from Denzoa.
Wow.
And is Drangster hitched, maybe? Or the server did? Looked like a little bit of a frustration shake. But Alpha.
Spud.
Nope, not. Yeah. I was thinking of bringing up what I had talked about in WDL Radio earlier. How I put criticism on Alpha. He's playing, fairly well. Few more timed shots, and he'll be able to get those flags across. But they're holding their own in round 2. It is anyone's game still. DMS doing a better job of contesting at mid. But that flag did not even leave the podium. Denzoa with a run of his own. 70 armor and 0 health. Helps nobody. Flag returned for DMS. Looking at quite the stalemate game here so far. Flags are rarely leaving the base now. DMS tightened up their defensive game with no lineup changes. Denzoa spy next to him just in time to see him get dropped at mid with a significant DMS presence overlooking the rest of mid. Another touch from Denzoa. Determined to juke, he does, but it's not enough. The muscles from Brussels not quick enough to make it out to mid. Alpha. Drangster. Looking for a way out. It just wasn't happening. We're coming up on the 5-minute mark. Drangster with another touch. Couldn't juke the defender. Says, no, I know where you are. Denzoa with a teleport back into the flag room. It almost worked. No one expected him to come back out through the mid.
Yeah, it was cheeky as hell.
Looks like the communication might have helped them there significantly return that flag. There was a lot of blue people in that base. That flag was not leaving the podium. Sphere up. Caution just covering the sphere. As he goes for a run himself, maybe just to reset his health. Xenaero doesn't get very far with that one. Still, no big runs, no significant touches. But that's not to say something won't get changed up here by one of the team captains. Caution with getting denied by the lift. You have to time it pretty precisely to take advantage of the drop as you walk back into base. But he waited just a second, and his team is there to cover him. And that is a first blood in round 2 for SBR. That pause was good enough to allow his team's spawns to push up and control mid. Crucial to breaking the tie right there. Yeah, DMS had no idea where he was. A little bit of runner trickery that tends to happen in a fast-paced game like this. You get used to the timing of a runner coming out. When that gets thrown off, you rely on communication and playing smart. Xenaero with the Soul Sphere. Alpha looking to try at least push SBR back in their base. Now he's got a pistol run. The man with the golden gun. Alpha with a relatively clean touch, but no support at mid. Xenaero, however, has some armor to work with. Takes the teleporter back out, trying to confuse the defenders with noises and teleport trickery, but it wasn't enough. DMS has to support their runners more at mid if they're going to survive to round 3. They're only down by 1 flag. That can happen. Xenaero saying, please, help me. I beg you. He's frozen in place for a split second, but it doesn't look like he was going to make it far regardless. Chat trying to come together for DMS, saying there needs to be more support, but Xenaero is across in his own base. A flag carrier battle, king versus king, but looks like that might be it could be a flag for SBR, but it was a return for DMS. And a pickup for Alpha, not enough health to make it across, but the big win was that DMS was able to return it. Map is getting chaotic as we reach 2 minutes left. Hatred. It looks like they're mostly abandoning their normal posts as they have to make something happen. Xenaero out to mid, returned. It's a mutual return. 1 minute 50 left. Caution says goodbye, and then returned quickly by another teammate. Xenaero couldn't make it quite far out. It appears as though everyone on DMS is running. Xenaero says, I'll just take the flag right now while I can. He's got a full Soul Sphere and armor stack. He's just going to power his way across mid. Doesn't need to engage because that stack was enough to secure him a second flag. The lack of item control worked against DMS there. Now Xenaero with 7 health, but he's intercepted at the upper ledge. This is going to be tough with 1 minute left. Hatred trying to make it out. Switching over to Caution, who is in his own base with the flag on the upper armor alcove. And it's just looking real grim for DMS as Caution tries to survive in his own base. But Xenaero with a capture. And it could be a tie if they really pull it together. It's about 15 seconds base to base.
Oh, man.
They got maybe 1-2 more runs. They're throwing everything they got at the flag stand, but it's just not enough. SBR is collapsing in on their own base. Xenaero with the flag. All he has to do is delay to secure this round 2 victory. But he says, no, I'm just going to go back to my own base. I'm going to fight the flag carrier. It got dropped below the fake bridge. It got returned, and there is no way they could make a run in time. And on top of that, the final nail in the coffin, 3-1 for SBR.
That's it.
And that is a 2-0 victory for SBR, which Blair was correct again in his prediction.
I mean, I said 3 rounds, so.
Oh,
I'm a loser.
You were not.
I'm a
you
sad
actually,
loser.
You actually you lost everything.
Yep.
So that's it for today's games. We will be back tomorrow with, I believe, at least one game. We do have one game scheduled for tomorrow that we'll be broadcasting. I will be, let's see. Does that work? That works. Showing the Steel Ball Runners winning over the Demon Slayers. Now, I'm going to pull up the schedule, and I'm going to copy paste this into the chat as well, where everyone can look at the upcoming games happening. Tomorrow we'll have the Sexual Panthers versus the Superchargers at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. I will not be casting my own game at 5:30, but there might be another player who will cast that. But right now, we actually have a delay on Best Ever versus Rip and Tear, which was scheduled to happen last night. Let's see. Salty Paper, I don't even understand what happened, but someone won, so GG, I guess. Yes. Steel Ball Runners won 2 rounds and secured a overall victory against the Demon Slayers. But we're hearing that maybe Rip versus BST likely tomorrow evening at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. And we'll go through the stats while we have them because our commissioner has run them while they're hot and fresh. Taking a look here, Steel Ball Runners with 8 total captures over 2 rounds. Far less touches than DMS. DMS with 77 touches and against Steel Ball Runners 44 touches, leading to a large discrepancy in capture percentage. Frag count mostly even, showing that it was the placement of the frags and how they were applied that allowed runners to capture the way they did. So congratulations to SBR for a 2-round victory. Blair, do you have a MVP you would like to name?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Denzel is going to be the big flashy name with all those crazy plays, but Caution, I'm going to put Caution there because I saw every time I looked at him, he was playing some really good mid play. And that's really what was the difference this game.
All right. Yeah, I mean, the mid play absolutely helped like tremendously, and Caution and Zach and we're kind of trading off in between Caution's touches as well. It's kind of a backup runner. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think in this case, I think I would have to give big props to Dranzer for a lot of great runs, but the mid support just wasn't there for DMS. My MVP pick would have to go to Danizoa for being able to successfully convert and time a lot of runs with the mix support from SBR. So well played on that. But we're only 2 games in to a 5-game weekend. So we'll probably be able to broadcast 2 more games tomorrow if that 11:30 time frame holds for Best Ever versus Rip and Tear, which will definitely be quite the game to watch. Best Ever having an undefeated streak so far. Could that change? Very well could. But for right now, we will be leaving you with the World Doom League theme. Thanks everybody for tuning back in. I'm Xenaero and I'm joined by Killing Blair, and we will be signing off and broadcasting tomorrow. And if you've missed part or whole of this game, or even the game before that, the chatbot, the last link in that, will take you to our YouTube channel where we upload the VODs. So, with that, we bid you farewell. Have a great rest of your Saturday evening. and we'll be back tomorrow on the Lord's Day to broadcast Sexual Panthers and Superchargers at 4:30 Eastern. Be there. Or not. That's fine too. But we prefer you to be there. Have a great evening, everybody.
See you later.